right now there's something critical happening in Parliament. The members of Parliament are speaking on the Black Stars' performance at the ongoing AFCON. Let's take you to Parliament.
Our sports journalists are heaping on them. Technically, they are not there. And even for those of them who are outside, what's the quality of the teams that they are playing for? Many of them are warming the benches of second round and third round teams. And yet, we are heaping all manner of accolades on them, thereby gingering support here in Ghana. And yet we know, if we come to interrogate the competence of the players, each of them, that most of them are not up there. So we may have maybe one or two world-class players in the team. But is that enough to win tournaments? I watched just two of the games that they played. I would say to myself that the one that we lost against Comoros perhaps was our best match, even though we played short of one person, of one player. This because so if a team is not technically sound, then we want to have good tactical play. And that then will call in question the competence or the pedigree of the coach. Mr. Speaker, the coach that we had, the question to ask is whether, as of now, he measures up there. Mr. Speaker, we've spoken about our own football development, graduating it from codes through schools and colleges, universities, the local leagues, and indeed the training facilities. Mr. Speaker, I would say to us that if we want to measure the quality of players that we have today, and we went back 20 years, most of the players that we have in the Black Stars today will not even qualify to play in the reserve teams of Accra Zobok or Kotoko or RTU in those days. And for such, you need to bring the players together to train for a longer time than the 1 week or so that maybe we had for the team. Mr. Speaker, the efforts will not amount to much if we did that. In 1965, when we won the second time, the tournament, and we realized that we had dropped, and we needed to win in 1978, it was agreed by the then FA that we should play just one round of the league. And then we took the opportunity to assemble the team. At the time, those of them that we thought were very established stars, the Danopons and Odames of that era, were dropped. And that was how come we brought in the younger generation, took them to Brazil. For about, they camped them there for about 2.5 months. They came to play the local league, the local clubs. I remember the second match that they played against Defense Stars. It was difficult for them to win. Then we realized that, yes, we were trying to shake them up. They were not up there. They went back. When they came back, they played the same Defense Stars and humiliated them. And realized that we had been able to get the team to some level. So into the 1978 tournament, which was played in Ghana, we were very hopeful. And indeed, all the teams that we met were able to overcome them. In 1992, when, again, for a long time, we were not making much progress. After the humiliation, when the trophy in Libya in 1982, between it and 1982, it was difficult for us. We're not even qualified. Then we introduced Bukar Sese we must look at the coaches that we also engage. Bukad, when he came, was a very hungry coach. We left the entire team to his charge and was able, within a very short time, to bring them up. That is how we should be scouting. If you are going for foreign coaches, those are the type of coaches, the hungry ones, who want to add to their CV, that you should be bringing, not established ones. The established ones, when you bring them, they will not be able to deliver, and they will tell you that, well, we had very little time. Mr. Speaker, the same thing goes when Nigeria, for instance, went to the World Cup and did very well. That was when they introduced Clemens Westerhoff, a very hungry coach. They brought him. The first match that he played, in fact, he went with them to Algeria. The first match they played, they were humiliated by Algeria. But Nigeria managed to play in the finals against the same Algeria. Algeria at the time, Shooting Rapa Majer, and the others. It was difficult for Algeria to beat Nigeria in the final game. They managed only a 1-0 against Nigeria. Then the people of Nigeria got to know that, yes, this man within a very short time was mastering the gameplay of Nigeria. He took them to the World Cup. They did well. When Cameroon went to the World Cup with Roger Miller, and did well, we recollect that they came to Ghana. At the time, we didn't have a blaster. And they played against our under 17. At that time, Frode Shabokwe, Ablarikuma, Joe Debra, Zion Train, and the others. They played them in Kumasi. They struggled to draw with our under 17 team. That was when they went to the World Cup. Roger Miller said, when people were praising Cameroon for what they had done, he said the world should watch out for Ghana. The Speaker, go for hungry coaches. Cameroon at the time went for an unsung coach, Nepomniachtchi, who took them to the World Cup. When they finished, the Soviet Union at the time poached him because of the gameplay that is placed there. Mr. Speaker, so it is what quality of coach that we want. If you're not going for the hungry ones, and my first preference is for local coaches, Mr. Speaker, you can put maybe some of them together, 2 or 3, the established ones, and you can even give it to the Coaches Association, that they should give us 2 or 3 of their best, put them together to coach the national team, and we see the results. Mr. Speaker, I think there's also a question that we have to ask ourselves. Since the FA, the Football Association, came to be taken over by the clubs, what has been the results? Is that the way to go? Before they came in, we had our own structure of technical people managing the Football Association for us. The football clubs have insisted that they dominate. Ever since they took control, what has been the results in tournaments? And that is when people even question the selection process into the national teams. Because each of them will want to have their own players from their clubs in the national team. What has been the results to us? Mr. Speaker, so there are so many questions that we should be asking about what went wrong. And indeed, as I've said, I agree that yes, today we don't have the big corporate bodies to be assisting in grooming players. The era of Samatex, the era of New Plan Stars, Akoshobo Testers that produce Akotex, even from Akujeto's place, Drontex, Japan Testers, they have gone. Dumas of GTP used to be one of the clubs. Georg Stars, Stiaman Stars, Ash Gold, and even from the armed forces, Defense Stars, later christened SS-74. Where are they? The Speaker, So we should look at how we are developing our football. We need really to have long-term strategic plans to reinvigorate our football. Mr. Speaker, for now, I agree with the minority leader that we don't have the luxury of time. If we have to compete in the World Cup qualifiers, we need immediately to determine the way forward for us. If we have to sack the coach, let it be swift. To introduce new coaches who then will have at least 5 weeks or so to get the team together. If, on the other hand, we want to leave him, then scurrilous attacks should also cease, because that will also demoralize the man. My own preference, though, is that the 2 Ghanaian coaches who are outside. Tanko is the deputy coach to Dortmund, and his pedigree is high. Ibrahim Tanko. Mr. Speaker, so if we have to give the Black Stars to him, I believe he's one person who can deliver for us. But let's handle the matter gingerly. And I think, I understand the FA's meeting tomorrow. If they have to get rid of Milo, because maybe he's wounded and his crest is falling, let's do what is needful. Bring in the other, another coach. I'm saying that my own preference is to bring down Tanko. The Speaker, having said that, we should come together not to stop supporting the Black Stars. We have bemoaned the fate of the Black Stars, and I guess so many of our compatriots are not in the mood to even continue watching that is the extent of injury that has been inflicted on all of us football lovers in the country. That means that we should revamp the Stars. If we have to invite some new people into the team, so be it. So, Mr. Speaker, the earlier we acted with some degree of alacrity to save the fortunes of the Black Stars, the better for us. Let me also urge those of them who contributed to the journey to Cameroon not to relent, because we need to continue our support for the team if indeed we want to maintain them, or if we want to call a halt to our participation in World Cup or perhaps tournaments, then we must make that bold decision. Other than that, Mr. Speaker, I believe the time to continue the support of the Black Stars is still on, and we must get actually in order not to have another disaster in March. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Very well, Honourable Minister.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by the Ranking Member for Youth and Sports Committee, Honourable Wayomi, MP for South Tonk, on the performance of our Black Stars. Mr. Speaker, I wish to commend my Ranking Member for this statement and also thank honourable members for their contributions to the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the stakeholders in the sports industry, especially football. Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt that the Ghanaian people, and for that matter, the government, is disappointed about the outcome of the AFCON campaign currently ongoing. Mr. Speaker, the Ghanaian people have a right, because if there is any one thing that unites this our great country called Ghana, then, Mr. Speaker, is sports, and in particular football. And that is why I share their disappointment about this AFCON campaign. Mr. Speaker, the African Cup of Nations is the most prestigious football competition in Africa, where member states are represented by their teams, and it is organized by the Confederation of the African Football, CAF. Mr. Speaker, Ghana qualified for the AFCON, or the African Cup of Nations, for a record 9th time, and was set to battle other African countries in this continental showpiece, scheduled in Cameroon from the 9th January 2022 to 6th February. Mr. Speaker, knowing the huge task ahead of us as far as football is concerned,
so you have the members of parliament actually commenting on the performance of the Black Stars at the ongoing AFCON 2021.